Hi, I'm Atdhe. Welcome back to my video series on IoT Forensics. So over this recording, this hands-on demonstration, we're going to do something that would require some skills on using some digital forensic tools. So we're going to use the tools that will be able to acquire, to image the evidence file. So here I'm having an environment that is running on a virtual machine at Ubuntu, and is dedicated to the IoT forensics, and it has all those tools that needed. So since we are in a visualized environment, I just wanted to show a couple of things. So we have that kind of structure of the file system that partition that would be this way organized. We would have a volume that would be available for this machine, for this virtual machine to run. And then we would have additional one, an external one that is 1.1 gig volume that would be running on this file system at the Ubuntu. So we would assume that this would be an evidence volume that an evidence disk that we might be attaching as an external one over the write blocker or straight to our workstation forensics. And then we want to investigate further on this evidences. Since we are running visually, let me just show you shortly how I managed to configure this one. So on the settings of this virtual machine, go to the storage section, and we have those two storage that I added. So this was the second one that I added, and I specified the size, and I would assume that this would be an evidence disk that I attached to my forensic workstation. How we do that, you would need just to highlight this controller and then hit this icon with a green plus. That would be creating you additional storage disk drive. So the objective would be step-by-step simulation of capturing an image and forensic acquisition. And I'm going to use this virtual machine that I set up within the IoT Forensics, and here I use a Mosquito and MQTT protocol and the sensor that is visualized, and it's running on this environment, and it is subscribed to the publisher, to the MQTT broker actually. And then further, I'm going to use other tools like DD and memory dump that I'm going to switch to different environment, like Linux, but using that for that purpose. But since we are on this IoT Forensics and Mosquito VM, I'm going to try to show you that having that separate storage, that folder, like the one that I just showed to you, that means that we were just assuming that we are attaching an evidence disk, and then later on we wanted to investigate. And that might be any type of storage. So SD card, USB device, hard disk, and those might be the potential device for investigation further. So, and then we would assume that we would be adding some dummy data on this disk that I just showed to you. And let's see, and let's just browse it, this thing, so we would be able to understand for what we are talking about. So we would go over the terminal, and inside that terminal, we're going to write the command that says, so that would be a command that shows us the whole structure of file system that would be sitting within this virtual machine. And that one that I just showed to you, that's an external one, is this one. So all the time, whenever we attach any evidence, physical evidence to our environment, if that's Ubuntu or Linux, we're going to go this way and check it if that has been recognized, and we can see. So we can see that's the one that I was talking about. And then next, what we're going to do, so what we can do that we can put some dummy data on this new disk that would simulate some sensor logs. So we're going to do that first. What we're going to need to format this within a type of file type that would be like this, and we would just identify which one going to be that one. So we're going to do that formatting, and that's gonna ask us if we wanted to proceed, and that would be done. So we created a file system, and that is done for that particular disk. And what would be next? So next would be, so we're gonna just let's see where we are. So we're gonna be on the desktop. Let's be on the desktop, and we wanted to create some directory that we wanted to. So that first we wanted to mount this as a sensor disk folder. So we wanted to mount that. So since that one is not created, we would create that one. So we were trying to create, since the file exists from the previous demonstration we've done, the file that was exist, and that we just move on, and we would be mounting this new drive that we already attached. So that would be doing this way. And we already mounted, so that would be there. And then we're gonna use simulating writing sensor data, so that we're gonna do a typical echo on this. In the path that we already mounted, and we're gonna name it this log.txt. That would be added. If we wanted to unmount, we would just click sudo unmount, and we unmount that sensor disk folder that we already created. We would just execute this one, but I'm not gonna execute this one. And let's check it. And here it is, this drive, that the log file that we created with that record that we already registered. So this was just simulating dummy data of the sensor readings.